My cabbages! Low, man. Ah, my cabbages!
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Andrew Esquire here, and this is a legal mindset where we teach you to be your own judge. Good to see everybody here today, and good to see everybody in the house. Appreciate all y'all. Love all y'all. Thanks for the great support. It has been crazy the last couple days covering this topic. We've been getting crazy amount of love, crazy amount of support. So I want to say thank you to everybody here. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for having my back. Thank you for being here. Sorry for being late. I had a bit of a night last night, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Some of you donated to the fund, and let me say the fund. Particularly the Ko-Fi. Anybody who went over to the Ko-Fi and donated, your funds were well used last night. Very well used for the team, for myself, Atozi, and all of the gang that helped out last night, because we got deep into it. So deep into it that I didn't even finish this bottle of soju. And of course, I got this brand very specifically. If you guys know the reference, actually, this brand is not bad, but The pro tip, in Korea, the real Koreans, the real G's, they get unflavored soju. It's only the foreigners that usually drink the flavored version. I prefer it. I prefer it like this, straight up. But didn't even get into this because, it was a long night, but it was a good time. And we had a great time with everybody out there, hanging out, showing them soul. It was really good. And, we're going to be here today to talk about some updates to the situation. We also have the full transcript. Now, it's actually not very long because this is the transcript of what officially is going to be said between the court and the defendant. What they do not track are side conversations and like stuff the bailiff did or stuff the interpreter said, right? They don't track any of that. It's really the official, like what's going to be the record. Now, this is an unofficial transcript because it's not the version officially from the court. It's the unofficial version, right? But it is the full transcript, is completely accurate. It's exactly right. My memory as to this is spot on. So we're going to go through that today. We're going to talk a lot. There's a lot of stuff circulating about the national security laws, stuff like that. So I want to talk about that as well. And I want to talk about some other possible charges too, because there were some lies in the transcript, and we're going to go over that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read it all through, and then we're going to go back and talk some points, which are very important in the actual transcript, and I'm going to point that out to you today. But thank you for everyone for being here. Thanks for your support. Appreciate you. Bear with my voice that is totally nuked today. That's just the real life of being a real streamer. It happens. All right. And by the way, also thank you to everybody who donated over there on the Ko-Fi. We still got 2 days in Seoul, and I still hope to see everybody and see the team a little bit more here today. So if you still want to support, you want to get us dinner, something like that, you can head over to Ko-Fi/Andrew Esquire, and drop some dineros in there, and that would be much appreciated. All right. So let's jump right into this. By the way, as an aside, I will post this transcript on Locals. Now, it's going to be free, right? So I'm not going to peg wallet, but we would have to sign up. You can probably get a free sign up, whatever, in order to just access it. But I'm going to post the transcript there just because it's a file, it's permanent, and I can pin it. YouTube doesn't have that functionality. Twitter doesn't have that functionality. So it's really the only place I can put it where you guys can get it easily. So I'm going to post this transcript. So if anybody wants to use it, they can go over there, free sign up, download it, boom. So there we go. And let me get everything here, and then we'll start the show. Tim Hayes says, hope you're doing all right. Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. I'm once again a little hungover, but I'm recovered. I'm not Johnny. Okay, I've got a much higher tolerance, and we're gonna reference the drinking video today, but I'm not gonna play it. I looked at it. I've seen it. I've actually seen it twice now. The whole barfing, throwing up stuff is kind of nasty. So I don't want to show that, but I think it is relevant for the court, especially since it's including statements around that when he's drinking and throwing up and licking soju off the floor, and actually like sucking it off the floor. It's relevant insofar as he keeps saying, I'm going to be at court in 6 hours. I'm going to show up drunk. I'm going to, whatever. And also we're going to get into the pills because there's a pill situation. And with the power of the internet and our internet detectives, we may have discovered what it is. Tim Hayes, so thank you for that. Danny Skier for 40 Thai Bot says, hi, I'm a little late. I'm at the Syracuse Center. Oh, I like that. It's really great. I'll be back in Bangkok on Tuesday. So I look forward to getting back into the Kingdom of Thailand, a wonderful country, a wonderful place to live or visit. Hubble for 5 Aussie said, you're supposed to get here an hour late in an oversized suit. Not today. Andy C for 2 says, you look like a Dark Souls boss to Johnny. I'm beyond that. I'm the final boss for Johnny, and he's not going to win this one. And he's not the main character. It's like it's like he's an NPC, and he's trying to challenge the final boss, and it's not going to work. It's not going to work. King Lugia for 10. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Masrova Palma for another 10. Thank you. Danny Skier for 100 Thai Bot. Oh, wait. A guy can have another one. Okay. Let me address this, Danny, because I know you dropped this, and I'm not going to ban you because you're a person. And some of you are new to my channel. I know people defame me. Johnny defames me. A lot of the nuisance streamers defame me. I have a policy. I don't deal with those people. And some of you are new to my channel, so I'll just say this. I have a policy. So I don't get in the mud with the pigs, right? They want me to get down in the mud with them. They want me to play their game, but I don't play that game. However, I will talk about some stuff today that is incredibly relevant. It's incredibly relevant to that. And it just so happens I can talk about it as part of Ramsey's trial because it's actually something that is relevant to Ramsey as well as to the nuisance streamers. And it's one of the reasons why the nuisance streamers are so pissed right now because they know they're dead to rights on this one. And it hits almost all of them. And this is a way that we can prevent nuisance streaming in Asia. It can lock them out of Korea forever. Let me say this one more time. It can lock all nuisance streamers out. And they know I found it and I called it out. And they know it's real. And that's why they are pissed right now. They are absolutely pissed. So they're going to say wild, crazy shit. You don't respond to wild, crazy stuff. You just ignore it. It's wild, crazy stuff. And oftentimes when people say stuff, it's projection, right? It's projection from them. If you see what they say, it's often about themselves. Johnny, for example, in all of his defamation and things he says, if you listen, it's actually, they're talking about themselves. They're not talking about you. You just replace your name or whoever's name with themselves. So that's my general policy. I know some of you are new, so it's to let you know. I'm not going to, if you have a super chat that deals with anything defamatory, I'm not going to read it. So don't send it. I don't want you to waste your money because I know some of you are members and stuff like that. But, I think that just plays to their game. So, once again, I appreciate it. Thanks for the support. I love you guys. Felix Wu for 78 says, let the party begin. Yeah. Norbert Frolik says, according to the first Korean articles, the judge ended the hearing by saying RKI better be on time for the upcoming hearing in April. Keep up the good work. Well, you're gonna see the transcript. So It was more of like an implication, but that was like a side conversation almost. But yes, there's an implication at the end. Mr. Midwest finally got alive. I had a question about Korean law, but I forgot it because I'm slammed. Hopefully I'll remember it next time. Next time, Mr. Midwest. Tara Stargaze says, are lawyers involved in the case expected to stay off social media like in the US? Follow up if they can use it. Are they expected not to use information obtained that way? Get golden showered. You're expected to stay off it when you're in the case. So yeah, the prosecutor can't tweet about it. The defendant can't tweet about it. So you can't, you're not going to hear, we're not going to get tweets or anything from the public defender or the prosecutor or the judge. That would, first of all, look unprofessional. And second of all, it's just stupid. It can damage the case and it can end up with contempt of court. Edwin V. Noy for 5. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Let's see. And Andrew Collins for another 5. Thank you so much for that, Andrew. You know, Ramsey, especially yesterday when we had 500 memberships. You guys are absolutely based. And what happened was Ramsey was watching. Oh, he was watching. I know he was watching. I know when he's watching. And he had bad
Emotional damage.
He watches every single one of my streams. It's glorious. Gator Time says, cheers from the anime law special. I have to upload that. Next stream, I will play that clip. These guys made a wonderful video about anime law, the special weeb unit. It's really funny. I'll play it next stream. Saidu for 50 Polish zloty. Do you think Johnny will face charges related to what he said in North Korea? This is what I'm going to talk about today. A lot of channels are talking about this. And guys, to be honest, you know me. I was at the trial. I want Ramsey to be guilty more than anybody else. But my channel, it's important to be accurate. I don't blame other people and other channels that are non-lawyers for being inaccurate. And look, I'm not a Korean lawyer. I'm not a Japanese lawyer. I'm not a Thai lawyer. But I am a lawyer. I'm an American lawyer. And lawyers as a profession, as a professional attribute, details matter. I've written thousands of contracts. Thousands. If you fuck up and I've got to stop swearing. I was talking with Atozi. He's like, you'd probably do a little bit better on ad revenue if you stopped swearing as much. I'm like, I know, but it's really hard sometimes. It's hard. It's really hard. I want to swear. It's right. But when you look at a contract, if you mess up a detail, that's going to change everything. And with this charge, people are missing the details. Yes, it's a possible charge. But is it a likely charge? Wait on that. Let's see here. What's up? Said Big Dog. I'm thinking about going to law school with my GI Bill. How'd you end up in a very specific career rather than criminal or family law? Actually, fun fact, I did for a summer. I was working when I was a law student. I worked in the, it was like a criminal law clinic at my school. And there were a ton of students charged with a lot of crazy stuff. And I helped with the defense advice. So what we did was we would screen all the cases, and before they would go to trial, we would advise them on what to do. And what I realized I really love to do as a lawyer is I like to prevent going to trial, because the more you learn about trial, the more you realize that's not a place you want to be. You don't want to go there. So my entire legal career has been about not going to court, about court being a bad idea. Don't go there. Avoid court. Don't sue. Oftentimes, because everyone wants to run to sue, but the real IQ move is not to sue often, but to strategize in ways knowing the law, to strategize without suing and win and make money. Suits are long and expensive. And if you can outmaneuver and outsmart your opponent legally, that's actually the best thing, not suing. So when I think about problems, I don't jump to lawsuit. I never jump to lawsuit. I jump to how can I fix this problem legally within the bounds of the law, avoiding the suit and maximizing money, right? For my client and, of course, even for myself, right? So when I have a problem, I don't jump to let's go to court. That's not my first instinct. It's not my second instinct. It's not the solution to everything. Oftentimes, the best thing to do is to save yourself the money and outsmart them legally, right? Yeah. And what's up, everybody in the chat? I see a lot of people popping in. Good to see everybody here today. Platty for 10 Legal Mindset memberships. Thank you. Will Sage for $9.99 says, here's some more Yellow Rain for RK. Hope you had a good night with the other special. Tells you, oh, we had a great time. Okay. I once again, I keep off the books, but I will say, fun thing from last night, we ran into the most Norwegians ever, right? First of all, I didn't know Tozi was Norwegian, but we somehow ran into like 3 Norwegians. It was insane. It was absolutely nuts. I didn't believe there's that many Norwegians in the world, much less in Seoul, South Korea. It was absolutely great. It was hilarious. And we had a great time. It was fantastic. Mazrova Palma says, it looks like it snuck something past the software. Late lawyers miss things. Thank you for that. Let's see. Oh, someone said, can you petition to serve your sentence in the U.S. jail? No. If Ramsey is convicted in Korea, he cannot serve in a U.S. jail. That does not work. Neffy says, let it be known that he united the world. Thank you. Kay says, for 10 Singapore, I know Ramsey can't leave Korea, but in the event he smuggled himself out like a stowaway and managed to get back to the U.S., what would happen to him? Would he be shipped back to Korea on a platter? Kay, it's not happening. It's not possible. Number one, he is well known in this country. He's hit national news. No one's going to smuggle this guy out. First of all, he doesn't know how to smuggle himself out. He doesn't even know, he can't even afford a haircut. He couldn't even afford a properly fitting suit. You know how much you need to pay to smuggle yourself out of a country? Look up the case of Carlos Ghosn and the Toyota executive, or Nissan, who snuck himself out in I think it was a music box, and he paid in crypto, but he paid a ton of money for that. It's really difficult. And this guy was like a millionaire. You know, he does not have the funds, the resources to even think about that. And remember, he's banned from Japan. Where is he going to smuggle himself to? North Korea? Yeah, that's not going to work for him. He'll be probably summarily executed. Are you kidding me? So, I mean, you know, remember, Korea isn't effectively an island because of the DMZ. So he's trapped, guys. He's not going anywhere. Asian Wing Sauce says 6'6" legal mindset. Dad, hold on, I got this. Dad, is that you? I'm sorry. I went out for milk that time, Asian Wing Sauce. I'm sorry. Sebastian Mueller says, this is where the fun begins. Damn right. Vigets, hope you're doing well. Shout out to all my European bros out there. Danny Skier says, I wasn't dissing you, just sent a diss you. I don't give a damn. And some people are newer to my channel. This is my policy. I don't give the haters my breath. They are so below me that they're not even worth recognizing. Recognizing is more dignity than they deserve. So I ignore them as a policy. Ramsey thinks he's in Minecraft digging deep. Waftop said, oh no, got that one already. Drop Barracuda said, we need to get to the point where filming or streaming during a crime is a modifier to a sentence. That's the strongest way to prevent these people. Yes. So I'm going to have a separate stream because actually what I've discovered doing this coverage, and this is something I'm learning, the laws exist right now to fully stop nuisance streamers. They don't need to add anything. They can just enforce existing laws and it's done. But I am going to get some little changes they could do to stop them. But I think if they just start enforcing the laws, not even making up new ones, although that would help, they can fully stop them. Bad News Badger says, fun fact, in Denmark, we get RKI, but here's a registry for which you entered. You're considered bad at paying your debts and you can't acquire any loans from financial institutions. Interesting. Let's see. Steve C says, details matter would be a new Disney RCID lawyers. Exactly. Yeah, Disney and RCID. That was a crazy case. And Disney lost, as I predicted. I've been right on all these major cases that I've covered within my area of expertise and with the things I've done a deep dive on. I've never taken a general shot and missed completely. Sometimes I'll get small details wrong. Like today, I'm actually gonna talk about something that I actually got wrong, and I'm gonna be very specific on how I got that wrong. And I'm honest. And if I come back and I find something and I change my mind or I see a different position, I will let you guys know. I'm honest. This is authentic. This is real interaction. This is why I love streaming, because I feel like it's just genuine. It's me giving you my genuine take. And by the way, lawyers change their minds all the time. Sometimes lawyers have one strategy and then they change to a different strategy. That's normal. You don't have to lock in and not change. That's actually completely rigid in any business or even as a personal, strategy for your life. If you just lock in and you're not open to changing or adjusting or modifying, you're really going to hurt yourself. Sleepy Rogue for 500 yen says, an expat in Japan, I really appreciate your coverage to facilitate this moron's downfall. Open offer for a drink next time in Tokyo. Yeah, we're going to do, I'm talking about this. I'm going to do a Bangkok meetup for sure. And then we'll do probably a Tokyo one too. Let's wait till all the morons leave Japan. And then we'll get one in Tokyo for sure. We'll do a meetup there. I have to think about OPSEC on that, but we'll do it. Asian Wing Sauce for 10 says, so going for a settlement is better than going to court. Would you advise people? Yes. And I advise people not even for settlement. Just don't. I advise people when they're having conflicts to work it out, to go talk to the other party. Or is there a way to just do it without? Is there a way to get the solution without the other party? So can you go around them? Because it often at times is just not worth it financially. Lawsuits, particularly international lawsuits, can be millions of dollars. If it's an international lawsuit with a corporation, and that's why I cover, for example, VTuber issues, where there's these international issues that could cost $1 million to litigate. Andrew Collins for 75 NT says Ramsey must be pissed. Over 5 members for 5 charges. Wow, that's actually crazy. I thought about that. Yeah, that is insane. 100x his charges. 100x his charges. That is insane. It's wonderful. Sometimes cussing is therapeutic, at least for me. Late cabbage boy. I know. But I was talking with a Tozy. It's like, all right, we got, what can I do to improve? It's like, all right, that's one thing. I'm like, all right. I'll be a good boy. Lonesome Poetcy became a new member. Corinne for 100,000 Indonesian rupiah. I'm curious, when Ramsey served a sentence in South Korea, what will hypothetically happen to him then? And if the South Korean government deported him, what are the consequences he'll face in the U.S.? They're not going to deport him until he serves his sentence. Once he's finished, he will be banned from the country probably forever. With the way it's going right now, I anticipate there will be a permanent ban. On paper, it might just be for 5 years, but I anticipate it's a permanent ban from the country of South Korea. So yeah, he's not going to be able to come back. And I imagine, by the way, we talked about this with Japan. I think with Japan, remember, traveling to a country is a privilege, not a right. I imagine they're going to exercise their right to deny him, right? Because it's just this privilege, and their right as a sovereign country can be to deny. So if he tries to come back there in 10 years, they'll probably say no to Ramsey in Japan. They'll probably just say no. And they can say no for any reason. Right? But usually they do for a good reason. Bob for 5 Australian says, Andrew, as a law student, you were like Tom Cruise in the first half of A Good Few Men. Did you help anyone not get in trouble for smoking oregano? There was a lot of oregano smoking in college, let me tell you. This was before it was legalized in the state of Florida, so there was a lot of oregano. There was also some what do we call it? Miami snow. We call it some Miami snow. All right, Vagabond says, I was at a cafe today on Guam and noticed these 2 Korean tourist girls watching a video about Somali on their phone and noticed a clip of you talking popped up. Cool to see your content in the wild. Yeah, and I've told everybody, clip me, take everything else. I was talking with an expat here. And really, by the way, this has become a battle of expats versus tourists. And I'll have a separate stream because there's a big difference between an expat and a tourist. An expat, like me and like a lot of the people on the Somali conviction team, those guys are expats. There were also other people who showed up. They didn't want to be in the photo, but they're expats. They live here. When you're an expat, you have to go through a lot, right? You got to get a background check. If you have any crime at all, we'll talk about that later. If you have any crime on your record, any crime as an expat, you will not get in Korea. And Korea is one of the strictest countries. If you had even one thing on your record, even smoking oregano, right? You're not gonna get into Korea or Japan, by the way, right? It is very strict with those things. So you have to have a completely clean record if as an expat or somebody who's living and working over here. Anyways, so it's really crazy. So cool to see your content in the wild. Yeah, cool. All right. Let us go here. All right. So I'm going to read all the rest of these. Let me get them, but I'll read them a little bit later because I want to get us moving on the content. But Mazrova Palma did point out a good point. Only 1/5 smash a like button. Smash it. We got 3,500 watching. Thank you guys. Charles Lewis, welcome as a new member. Very based. And Piotr Suvala, thank you for the 10. I appreciate it. You know, Ramsey's sitting over there.
Emotional damage.
He's hurting today. All right, I'll get everybody else here a little bit later. I see you, Super Korean, and everybody else who got the posts. So I want to start here with some videos. First, this little preview. I will say there's some really good clip videos. I think Johnny So Somali had some good clip videos. This one was really good, so I wanted to point this one out. It was especially good, so I'll play this one.
And he came in with the biggest smile on his face, and then as soon as they read him his charges, his smile just vanished. So it seems like he was truly humbled as he had to sit down for the court.
I love, like, I'm sitting back like, yep. He was absolutely 100% humbled. I cannot state to you the difference between his face when he was looking at me, sticking his tongue out. He was laughing and sticking his tongue out. He was like, like laughing. Everybody saw this, right? And he's out there sticking his tongue out, laughing. And then the judge starts reading the charges and he just dies. His soul leaves his body. It is great. It is so great. Here's another one. Okay, so you guys, there's a lot of stuff that happened in this video. Even I was watching it live. I missed some stuff because I'd get up and go to the bathroom, or I would go change in the other room and come back because he started streaming at 3 a.m. Seoul time, and I got in about 15 minutes into the stream. After it started, I started watching. And of course, we have everything saved, and I have to review it again. I actually haven't had time to look through the whole thing again because it's hours long. But I know a lot of people are clipping it. A lot of people are finding good stuff from it. I'm deciding whether or not what parts I will review. Obviously, there's certain parts that are relevant, and a lot of it's not relevant at all, even hurtful. But one thing that's real relevant is that Johnny May have been taking illegal drugs insofar as their prescription drugs. That's incorrect. They're legal with a prescription. So prescription drugs, right? So he illegally took prescription drugs, it appears. I don't think he has a script for him, right? I don't think he had a script for him. So let me put this one here. So let me put this up here. Dun, 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 dun. So this is a picture where he admits he's high, and he's clearly, if you watch him in this video, he's clearly on something, right?
Hold on, I need to open a private message with you. I'm gonna message you right now. Sorry, I'm fucking high right now. Hold on.
So he says he's high. Remember, this is hours before the court case.
I need to open a private message with you. I'm gonna message you right now. Sorry, I'm fucking high right now. Hold on, I need to open a private message with you. I'm gonna message you right now. Sorry, I'm fucking high right now. Hold on, I need to open a private message with you. I'm gonna message you right now. Sorry, I'm fucking high.
So he admits he's high. So we figured out why he was high, right? So the internet detectives, right? There's people out there on the internet that are very good at detective work. They're very good at doing what they need to do to figure things out. They went out there and they figured this out. Let me zoom out here. This is too zoomed in, actually. Okay, here we go. So you can see the medicine here. And what happens when you get stuff like this and you say you're high and you have this photo in the background of Hanky Poo's apartment and you say you're high and you've been taking pills. Well, we figured out through the power of the internet that it is likely the drug Zolpidem, which also has another name. I think it's called Stilnox as well. So this is a prescription drug. And I'm going to pull up the ministry. This is the Korean Ministry of Food and Drug Safety. This is literally the Korean website. So it is a psychotropic drug. It's a narcotic. It's a narcotic medicine, Zolpidem and propofol. But Zolpidem is a psychotic drug used for the treatment of insomnia in adults. It is only to be used with a doctor's guidance and a prescription. It has a real chance of misuse and drug dependency. It should be used with caution because it can lead to drug abuse and dependency. This is a potentially addictive drug that it appears that Johnny may have been popping to get himself high before. So I wonder if he has a script. I mean, is Hank his doctor? Did Hank actually? No, and we all know Hank's not a doctor, by the way. It's clear that Hank is not a doctor. Now, if it's Hank's stuff and Hank had a prescription, then only Hank should be taking it. So he literally, as we go, think about this, guys. This man continues to just give us crimes when he streams. Every time he comes on, he just hands us more stuff he potentially does. It's crazy, right? It is crazy. Yeah, there's a lot of boxes. And by the way, you're not really supposed to give out that much. That makes me wonder, were those boxes bought legally? Because that was not 1 month's supply. And in Korea, I don't know if you guys know this, but in Korea, they actually print out these little baggies with your medicine in them. Because remember, guys, I moved from the US to Korea first, before I moved anywhere else. And I moved during COVID, which was one of the strictest times to come here. But when I was here under all my visas were covered under national health insurance. And when you get national health insurance, it's so cheap to get medical services. It's totally different than the US. So I would go to the doctor all the time, and they would give you pills only as much as you needed. So they would give you, I'm not kidding, like 2 days of medicine, right? They would never give you a month or 2 months or 3 months supplies. That's crazy talk. That is crazy talk. So, it's very interesting how there's that many. Very, very interesting. Let me get this. Lenmar says, but Andrew, those are anti-pregnancy drugs. Oh no. CCP text, it's for sleep. If you fight the sleep, you trip balls. Yeah. That's like, oh God, what was it? Was it Xana? Was it Xanny? I forget. Quaaludes. It's Quaaludes. I was thinking Wolf of Wall Street. Quaaludes. The Ludes. Ultra Fine Point says, spit and facts. I went through hell to become an epic teacher. Love all my Korean children. God's children. How dare this? Yeah, and as a teacher, you go through a lot of the same visa procedures as well. If you've ever had to deal with it, and I'm going to talk about some stuff later. And it's a process to get through here. Super Korean for 10 says maybe he should be encouraged to cross the DMZ and cloud chase there. Love that activity up north. Pop-Tart Bandwagon says, if and when he gets out of jail, his conviction will follow him and affect him back in the States. Keep up the good work, U.S. expat living in Japan. Hey, appreciate you. Thank you very much. And I don't think he's ever going to have a chance to enjoy Japan. So enjoy that. Once again, I feel like the great thing about Johnny Somali is he's connecting me with a bunch of awesome expats, and getting to meet cool people abroad is always what I wanted to do, because there's people that are annoying abroad. That's true. But there's a lot of really cool people doing really cool stuff in Asia, whether it's Japan, Korea, Southeast Asia, Thailand, Philippines, Indonesia. And it's awesome to meet these people, especially in real life. Charles Lewis says, what happened? Johnny didn't show up for trial. South Korea would issue a bench warrant. No, they would reschedule it, but they would take that in consideration if he's late. And mind you, if he's late, all that's doing is making him stay here longer. It's crazy. Drop Barracuda for 5 says, even the World War II mustache model had people that stood behind him. Ramsey doesn't even have that. He had nobody. He just had Hank. Karl-Heinz Grabowski says, Grüß Gott! The Johnny Somali case is hilarious. And And also, karma-wise, satisfying. Thank you for covering and giving details. Enjoy your weekend. Oh, no, vielen Dank for being here. And thank you for the super chat. Sammy Head for $4.99 says, SCT, Somali Conviction Team, please make the merch. Yeah, I got to get on merch. We'll get on it. We'll get on it. Ray, probably a hat would be good. Oh, that'd be great as a hat. Because it kind of symbolizes like Johnny doesn't know how to do a hat, but we know how to do a hat. Ray says, are there any cases where crimes committed abroad are recognized in the U.S. and have consequences, vice versa in Asian countries? Yes, we're going to talk about that today, particularly involving entry. In Korea, it's one of the strictest countries with the entry rules. And we're going to get into that. That's actually really relevant. Let's see here. Mr. Alex says, on the Pokedex entry for Johnny Somali, it is the words FAFO, bad fortunes, nuisance, unwanted attention, and open season for beatings. Nice. Tahai Miyagi, thank you as a new member. Manic Mark says, I've noticed Ramsey looks worse after the drugs. Yeah, he looks really bad. Kevin SM, 100118 for 5,000 won says, I hope lawyers file lawsuits on Ramsey one by one so Ramsey can serve time and be interrogated by every time and file for Chapter 7. He's going to need Chapter 7 soon. For sure. So anyways, let's get into the transcript. So we're going to get into the trial transcript. Now, I'm going to give you guys details and stop and give you guys details here as we go. And then I'm going to read it through with the details first once. And then I'm going to go back and talk about some legal points that are very relevant. And then we'll also talk about the other alleged charges afterwards. So, okay, here's the transcript. Once again, I will post this. So, you guys will get access to this. Actually, let me download this in a PDF so it looks a little better because it's looking a little shady right there. Looks a little better. Yeah, that's much better. Much better PDF. Okay, cool. So here it is. The trial transcript for Ramzi Khalid Ismail, right? Once again, this is unofficial. It's the legal mindset version, but it is verbatim as I recall it. Having been there, I can tell you it's verbatim. So it's pretty good to see and have for us to go through. And I'm going to put it on my locals. Okay, Judge. Will the defendant please stand up? Defendant stands with his hands in his pockets. Guys, that is super rude behavior. Everybody was shocked that he kept his hand in his pockets. It is extremely rude. I mean, not just in Asia, although in Asia it's very rude, especially rude, but in America it'd be rude too. If you have your hands in your pockets, come on. I mean, he looked horrible doing that. And then that was after, mind you, this is after the issue with the MAGA hat, after the issue with the water bottle, after he didn't know where to sit. So this is when he finally figured his shit out, right? It's extremely rude. And by the way, the word in Korean for defendant is pigo, or they usually say pigoin, right? Which is like the accused or the defendant. So they repeatedly, if you ever hear the word, you're in a Korean court, you hear the word pigoin, it's defendant. It's a very useful word to know because they say it over and over again. Okay. Judge says, during this trial, the defendant will have the right to remain silent and refuse to answer any of the questions. The defendant will have the right to make any statement that is favorable to him. Please state your full name. Ramzi Khalid Ismail. Oh. State your occupation. Student. We'll come back to that, kids. We'll come back to that, okay? Please state your current address in Korea. It's Sopagu. I don't know the exact address at the top of my head. I don't know the exact address. Judge, don't you know the building or apartment number? And then he says only the number. And then the judge says, is that your address? Is that correct? Defendant, yes. Your nationality? United States of America. Now, by the way, this is actually summarized even more because what the judge actually had to ask twice. They asked, like, don't you know the apartment number? And there was an interaction between the interpreter and Johnny. So the judge asked, obviously, in Korean. And Johnny was like, I don't know numbers in Korean. And literally the interpreter was like, you can just say it in English. Like, what are you doing? Like, just say it in English. It was so stupid. He was incredibly dumb. Let's see here. So they go to the address, and so he confirms it's Hank's address, and we know it's Hank's address. Everybody knows where Hank is, so we know it's Hank's apartment. He confirms he's living with Hank, right? So we now have on court record he's living with Hank. Defendant, yes. Your nationality, United States of America. Judge, be seated. And he said it sternly too. When he said be seated, it was like, sit the fuck down. Defendant says, what? And then judge says, please sit. Defendant, okay. What? No, he didn't say it like, he was like, what? He was so scared here, guys. Understand that what's going on here, what went on there was Johnny was so scared because Hank wasn't next to him. If you look at all their photos, they're practically holding hands in all of their photos, essentially. And anytime he gets separated from Hank, he gets separation anxiety because he doesn't have his personal interpreter and somebody to tell him what's going to happen, except for Hank doesn't actually know the correct procedures. He doesn't actually understand the law. He's not a lawyer. He's not a Korean lawyer. Just because his granddaddy was a lawyer doesn't mean he knows shit about the law. And it was really great because you saw him also as this is happening, like you saw Hank getting angry he was seething so hard because he wanted to be there for his boo and he couldn't be there for him. It's very sad for him. It's a little sad for Hanky. Okay, I am going to interrupt this because there's two really big donations. First of all, Nightmare Blue with 20 Legal Mindset memberships. Thank you so much, Nightmare Blue. Very base. Going to be some big emotional damage for Johnny. Thank you. And if you received a gift membership, please say thank you to Nightmare Blue Mage or whoever gave those out. And then he also dropped to 50. So that's a big one. I'll stop the clock for that. Been watching since Heard versus Depp trial. Thank you so much for your expertise in so many other places I watch. And thanks for introducing me to my favorite horse girl, Rima. Who do I know? She's a fox. Sorry to derail. You're all good. I'm glad you love the VTuber content. I'm glad you love my other videos. And I'm glad you like my Depp versus Heard. I really appreciate everybody who supported me for a long time, but I also love my new viewers. I love all you guys. Rima's never beaten the allegations, though. So let's continue. Defendant sits. Judge, if your current address in Korea changes, you must report it to the court. If the court cannot locate where you live, the trial will proceed in your absence. That's great. That's absolutely great. So he's not getting out of it no matter what. He can't just disappear. The first count is obstruction of business. On October 17th, 2024, at a convenience store in Mapogu, Seoul, the defendant engaged in behavior that obstructed the victim's business. Specifically, the defendant imposed himself on other customers, creating an unsafe and uncomfortable environment by playing loud music and unpleasant sounds and dancing inappropriately. When an elder employee of the convenience store asked him to stop, the defendant responded by spilling cup ramen soup on a table and verbally abusing her with profanity. By carrying out these actions, the defendant intentionally disrupted the normal operations of the business. The second count is for violation of the Minor Offenses Act. On October 12th, so 5 days before, the defendant engaged in disruptive behavior by intentionally obstructing passerbys in a bus and other public spaces. Specifically, he approached numerous individuals who did not know him, brandishing a plastic bag containing rotten fish, which he aggressively shook in their direction. Simultaneously, he loudly shouted in the vicinity, creating a disturbance. His actions caused anxiety and fear amongst those present as a result of these serious, menacing provocations without justifiable grounds. And the prosecutor went hard when he was saying that one. They were saying it very seriously, and I know we kind of laugh about the fish thing, but they were dead serious about that when they explained that. Okay, next, let's go down here. Third count is for violation of the Minor Offenses Act. On Thursday, October 23rd, 2024, the defendant boarded a bus and a subway, and in the process, he disturbed other people's peace by playing loud music and disturbing sounds. He was also performing with pull-ups and sexual movements such as twerking. So by causing this commotion, he did make other people feel uneasy, annoyed, offended by his conduct. Okay, I have to comment here real quick. This is case precedent for nuisance streamers, but this is literally this is the first time, I guarantee you, that the word twerking has made it into a official criminal record as a crime, like twerking as part of a crime. Once again, it's not just the single twerking thing. It's the whole environment of what he did. It's the overall disruption. But it is hilarious that literally the prosecutor had to say twerking as part of the record, right? And like we can actually say now that in South Korea, twerking is a crime. Save that for Chirac. Save that for New York. Save that for Cali. We got to keep that at home. We don't want that twerking over here in Asia. Save that. Unhinged Valkyrie, thank you for 20 Legal Mindset memberships. Appreciate it. Thank you for the unhinged moment. Thank you. And I will get all the rest of these super chats and stuff after we get through this transcript. Okay, let's continue. And once again, this will be posted on my locals, so you'll have this to download. Third count is for violation of the Minor Offenses Act. On Thursday, October 23rd, 2024, the defendant boarded a bus and a subway. Oh, no, got that running. And disturbed other people by twerking, and so causing commotion. He did make other people feel uneasy, annoyed, or offended by his conduct. So that's the key here. He caused a problem that made other people uneasy, annoyed, and offended by his conduct at large. And also he was disturbing with loud music and sounds. Once again, this is helping us set case precedent to prosecute nuisance streamers. So now nuisance streamers can be hit with this. And all they got to do, and this is the key here, all we've got to do to stop nuisance streamers is enforce these laws. Hit them with one act of the Minor Crimes Act for causing a scene and ban them from the country. Done. You know? And it's about damn time. You know, this is why they're mad. They're mad because as much as they try to say, oh, you know, the other streamers will try to say, oh, well, we want Johnny to go to jail. They don't want the dollary dues to flow. So they want to be able to go do annoying stuff and get paid for it. Now they're going to try to be more legal, right? But this sets a case precedent that would doom a lot of the annoying stuff they do. And once again, it just closes down that avenue. They'll have to find another grift, right? Let's continue. Has defendant received a copy of the indictments? Yes. Is there anything else? There are 3 counts so far. There is a new indictment to be merged, the details of which will be read at the next trial date. So at this point, they actually asked them. They said, like, do you have this is something that like was kind of off the record because it was between the translator and the bailiff and the prosecutor and the judge. It was like not part of the official record. So at this point, that's when Johnny's lawyer had the O face. Johnny's lawyer was like, was shocked because he's like, I don't have this. And like they're asking, do you have this? And does Johnny have this? Has he seen this? Nobody had seen it on the defendant's side. So Johnny didn't see it, his lawyer didn't see it. Crazy. Nuts. They didn't even see it. They heard it from me. And of course they all said I'm making things up. They all said I don't know what I'm talking about. Of course I know exactly what I'm talking about and I have access to the files. So it is what it is, you know, and I've had that from the beginning, right? It's hilarious. How does the defendant plead? The defendant admits guilt on the 3 counts stated, and after considering the details, will make a decision on the new count. So this is what happened. He's guilty on the 3. He admits guilty, and after making the concerning details, will make a decision on the new count. So the next trial on April 9th, he's probably going to plead guilty to the last count. Now, what would be interesting here is if he tries to plead not guilty, because then it would create a very interesting scenario. I kind of hope he does that. But pleading guilty, it doesn't mean the trial would be over, because then it goes to witnesses and sentencing. And in this, they're definitely going to call witnesses, and there's definitely going to be like some strict sentencing. Okay. The next hearing will be on April 9th. Please appear on time for the next date. So remember, I think there was a super chat saying that Korean media focused on that last part. Please appear on time for the next date. What that meant in Korean, the way they said it, is like, don't be late next time, right? Like, don't do this again. The language carries a lot of meaning. That's like, there's literal meaning and there's like what's implied. And the literal meaning there was do not be late. And that's it. That's all the official stuff. Now, there was a lot of back and forth. There was a lot of pauses here. There was a lot of pregnant pauses. There's a lot of people looking at each other confused. There's a lot of Johnny looking like an idiot. There's a lot of Johnny in the beginning when he was trying to bring in a water bottle. By the way, court in Korea, the judge, the bailiff, and the public defenders, they're often in there for like two. And somebody else mentioned in the chat intonation. Intonation carries a lot, yes. So the judge doesn't use water. The prosecutor doesn't bring in water. And Johnny thought he was going to bring in a giant thing of water in the court. A fucking idiot. I'm sorry. It's such an idiot. Nobody brings in water. He could have just looked around. Or, of course, he could have asked Hank. But Hank didn't tell him that. Hank didn't tell him about the hat. Hank didn't tell him about the water. Hank didn't tell him anything. Hank didn't tell him what questions they were going to ask. Hank didn't know nothing. He didn't know nothing. Nick Atkins for 20 says, if convicted of a sex crime in Korea, does Ramsey have to register as a sex offender when he gets back to America? I'd have to look into that. It depends on what state. I'd have to look into that. That's an interesting question. If he's convicted of the sexual crime, which is a deepfake is a sexual crime, that's the one that he exposed when he flashed the papers. If he's convicted of that, then there's a possibility. There's a possibility there, but I got to look into it. I don't want to give a wrong answer there. Pimp Poppy says, we are making history here. Twerking and gooning has officially made it in the court record. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Gooning is in the Destiny case and twerking is here. So we've officially made both twerking and gooning illegal in their own ways. Let's see. Okay. Shinsen Gloomy said, any chance some Somali would be held in contempt? It's possible if he shows up late again. Yes. Or if he does weird stuff in the trial. It's possible. It's very possible. Jeshire Kitten Cat says, late, but I'm prescribed Zolpidem for severe chronic insomnia, aka it's Ambien. Yeah, here's the thing. If you have a prescription, it's fine. You're doing it legally, right? You have a prescription. I don't think Johnny had a prescription, right? I really don't. I truly don't. And if you take the drugs legally, that's fine. That's totally okay. If you need them and it helps you, that's great. I hope it helps you. I hope it really helps your condition. What the point is that he may have committed a crime here. It's not taking drugs that's wrong. If I'm sick, I take something to feel better. I had a hangover and I took some I took some headache medicine, right? It just is what it is. I'm probably a little tough on my liver there, but you gotta YOLO, right? Sometimes your head feels like it's gonna explode. It might have been the Vietnamese vodka. We mixed so many drinks last night. It was crazy. It was so crazy. But anyways, Vietnamese vodka. That was an interesting one. But yeah, the issue with him is just not having a prescription. And then also he goes on the stream and says he's high. Well, what is he high on? You don't say high for beer or soju. High is drugs. Mr. Midwest says, what is the recidivism rate in Korea compared to the West? Small part of me wants RK to have a road to Damascus moment during his stay in jail. I'll have to ask once again. I actually have a call in. I want to get a call in with one of my Korean lawyer friends. So I want to have a little chit chat with them. So that I'll bring that up. I'll bring that up to them when I talk to them. Once again, I may not be a Korean lawyer myself, but I talk to a lot of people who know a lot about the law here or are lawyers, etc. And while they oftentimes can't come on the stream, it's very good to get their opinions on things because, of course, they're there. Germ says for 70, for 5 says, Johnny is his own worst enemy. All he had to do was accept that he went too far and head home, but now South Korean courts are going to make an example of him. They absolutely will, and this will be case precedent to be used against future nuisance streamers. So this is going to be something used against a lot of them. Oh, actually, I want to bring that back up, but I'll bring it back up in a second. L Southwest says, for once, it would be good to see a Johnny Somali live stream direct from the dock. Such a shame we couldn't witness this comedic shamble. Yeah, it would have been great to be like in the courtroom live streaming, but you can't do it, and I obey the court rules. I obey rules abroad. 499 says, American commits domestic on his Korean girlfriend on stream. Check out another garbage streamer goes to Asia by average. I've already seen that one. I've already reviewed that video. It's bad. Yeah, it's very bad. He also kicks a dog in that as well. Ross Dogs Broken Spears says, Aaron, a multi-challenge you a boxing match. Sure, fly to Bangkok and we'll do it. I'll fight Aaron. Yuki Roma says, Ramsey was using the water bottle as security replacement for his roly-poly whoopie naming. His security blankie. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Lenmar says for €5, even he had a prescription. I'm pretty sure the doctor told him not to mix it with alcohol and get wasted. Yeah, exactly. So let's go back here for a second. I want to bring up something. So he said he was a student. Okay, this is very relevant. So he lied to the court, and this is going to come out, and this is 100% going to come out. He also has now, because he was an idiot and streamed, and those $4 that he dropped, that he got from drinking, right, is totally not worth extra time in jail or contempt of court. So essentially, lying to the court is also a problem, and saying he's a student is definitely a lie. That's not his occupation, and that's not what he's doing for money. And I don't know the last time he's studied anything, or if he even has any proof of that. You'd have to actually prove that, right? Prove that. So yeah, that's what's going on there. So that student part, that's really going to get him. That's really, really, really going to get him. Now, I want to bring up something that that actually I brought up that actually I thought might be an issue, but it's something that actually isn't as big of it isn't a big issue in this case. But before I get to that, let's talk about the other. Actually, before I do that, before I talk about that, the mistake I made, we're going to talk about the other charges. So a lot of people have been talking about the national security law, about the anti-communism law. And that comes out of this clip. Let me play this clip here. Where, and mind you, I will warn you in this clip, there's racial slurs. So if you are easily offended, and once again, I do not condone these racial slurs. In fact, I expressly denounce them. It's disgusting. It's horrible, right? Do not support it. There's a racial slur. I think one racial slur. There's also cursing. He curses a lot in this. So I just want to warn you here, guys. If you want to tune out for 5 minutes and tune back in or whatever, that's fine. You know, fair warning here to everybody. Yeah, hide your wife, hide your children. Yeah, exactly. Trigger warning, right? Okay, so everyone's warned. Giving you the warning. I'm a nice guy. I give you time, right? So let's play this.
National Intelligence Security Charge. National Intelligence Security Charge. Does anybody know what the fuck that means?
He's drunk here in case you guys don't know. Or / high.
I got interrogated 2 days ago. It's March 6th. Court is tomorrow. The detective looked me in the eye and he said, Johnny, do you know where North Korea is?
Okay, I'm gonna say one thing real quick, because I'm gonna explain about the charges, but I want to explain to people, because this is a difference that a mistake a lot of foreigners make, and expats actually make this mistake too. Even I had a good friend who made this mistake. I'll tell a funny story about it. Right. So in in South Korea, there's really only two ways that most people who are Korean, native Korean, view South Korea. And there's obviously there's exceptions. Someone's gonna say, not me, I'm different. Okay, yeah, but most people fall into one of two camps when it comes to North Korea. Either they don't really care and they're like apathetic, they're like whatever, or they are super deadly serious about it. Super deadly serious about it. Like it's not a joke. So pretty much they don't joke around about North Korea. It's not like a meme. In the West, it's a meme, right? I think it's funny. There's a lot of North Korean jokes I think are funny. I watch like, what is it, Team America, World Police, funny movie, right? So in that case, it's like, it's for us in the West, we just laugh about it, but they don't think it's funny. So let me tell a funny story. This is from an expat friend here in South Korea. So he was at like a local market and he bought and he saw a bunch of like meme IDs. They were like IDs, like national IDs, but they were like funny and they're all like jokes, right? Like they would have like BTS members and you know, a bunch of different people from around the world. And there was a fake Kim Jong-un ID. So this guy thought it was funny. He's an expat, a Western expat. So he bought the ID as a gag. So he goes out like a couple months later, and I think he was drinking or whatever. I forget his story. I'm messing up his story here. I think he was drinking. And he ends up in the back of a cop car. He like wakes up in the back of a cop car. And as he's like drunkenly getting out of the cop car, right? Because he was like so drunk. And the police will actually help you out. They'll get you sorted. So he's getting out and he drops his wallet. And all his stuff comes out. His credit cards, his money, and the Kim Jong-un national ID. The cop picks it up. And the cop is like, what is this? And he's like, oh, it's a joke. It's a meme. And the cop, dead face, goes, how is this funny? And then he goes like, well, I guess if you don't get the joke, then there's no way for me to explain it to you. Like, aha, oopsie doopsie. And the cop was real mad. And he actually went in later in the future. And he went back to like pull some records. And he was like looking through his own records. And they put it on his on a record. They made a note in his files. It's not a crime. They didn't charge him with a crime. They did not charge him with a crime. But they put a note in his like personal file, like had a Kim Jong-un ID. So it's kind of a situation where like you don't necessarily want to joke about these things, right? So I would just like not like save your North Korea jokes. It's not that funny, right? So that's a big mistake here that people make, right? Yeah, your ping icon isn't edited. Yeah, no, I know. Oh, I know. It's funny to me. It's very funny to me, right? But what I'm saying is I don't go out there when I'm in Seoul and tell North Korea jokes. If you're watching my stream, you get my sense of humor, which is very, very Western in some ways, but also integrates some weebery and some Eastern elements as well. I like to think it's a little bit of a fusion, a little bit of an Oriental fusion, which I'm cool with. It's very interesting. So with this particular charge, let's let him finish, and then I'm going to tell you what I think is going to happen with this. Okay, the most likely scenario, and this is after talking to people about this. I've talked a lot about this charge. Let's continue.
I said, it's the dumbass guy, like north of here, like straight up. I saw homie. I said, north of here? Like, what the fuck are you talking about, nigga? North of here? Like, this is a stupid ass question. And then he asked me, what's your relationship with North Korean communists? I said, right to remain silent. He said, do you know the situation that's going on between North Korea and South Korea? I told him, I'm from America. I don't care. Simple like that. So they trying to charge a nigga National Security Violation Act. That is a problem.
See, there you go. So, so essentially, he was interviewed for that. So we have a lot of people trusting what Johnny has said. And this is my advice to other content creators. Please listen to this. Please listen to this. Okay? Please be very, very careful. And listen to this very carefully. He has not been charged officially with that. And it is unlikely he will be charged as a North Korean agent. We all know he's not a North Korean agent. Now, there are provisions that he could be charged with just for playing the propaganda. But the key here is we don't believe he's doing it because he genuinely believes it. We know he's doing it for humor, for parody, whatever. So to charge him with that would kind of take away from the seriousness of the crime. Once again, it would treat him like he's more important than he is. And they don't want to give the dignity to Johnny Somali of enabling his main character syndrome. Guys, we were in a courtroom that was small. He was in there with petty criminals, with fraudsters, with a Persian man who brought in 30 kilos of meth. Okay? Meth. He's in there with meth dealers. He's in there with abusers. There was a Chinese guy that beat another dude with a pipe. He's there with fraudsters. There were people in there that scammed people out of their apartment money, and they stole $100,000 from somebody. And that, by the way, that person who lost that money will never get it back, because in Korea, the system, the money, any fines are paid to the court and the government. They're not paid back to the party in the criminal process. You have to go through the civil process to get it back. It's very difficult with scams to get money back in Korea. It kind of is a big problem. There's so much. There was another. Yeah, the fake apartment was crazy. There was a fake apartment case where they literally lied about it being in their apartment, and they took money from somebody. It's crazy. So he's just a petty criminal. He's like scum criminal. You know, he doesn't get the big courtroom. The big courtroom is for like national interest stuff. You know, like real big stuff. It's not for petty punks like Johnny Somali. We filled that courtroom. Between us and the reporters, it was full. So yeah, crazy stuff there. Let's see. Amateur Anth says for 5, he needs to ask his wife, sister Ilhan Omar, for diplomatic immunity. Well, he's already married. I don't know what his relationship is with Hank. So, let's leave some possibility that there might be some betrothal coming soon. Turkey Sloth for 5 says, is him saying student contempt or perjury in South Korea? I want to ask what that would be specifically, because it's not right. It's definitely illegal to do that, to lie to the court, right? But exactly what they'd be charged with, because I think there's a couple options. So that's one of the things I want to follow up on and make sure I'm accurate on that and get the right information to you guys, because I want to get out the good information. That's why you watch my streams, because you guys are interested in the detail. If you want the quick summary, that's somebody else's channel, or that's my clips, which it takes a while to clip these because they're very, very long streams. And my editor is working hard. He's got a lot of stuff to do. But there will be clips of all this eventually. It'll come out. Ultra Fine Point for 10 says, long man, long prison term. You know it. Okay. So here's one thing I wanted to correct, and this will actually address a lot of the defamation that everybody throws out there, because it's actually a really big problem. Because, generally when idiots defame you, which happens everywhere, right? They will just say crazy shit. And if you play into their crazy shit, it just makes it worse. But this actually applies to Johnny Somali. And it applies to him insofar as we talked about Johnny not talking about his crimes when he came in the country. So I thought in the beginning of this case, I wasn't thinking. And I thought that Johnny would have had to disclose whether he had crimes in Japan when he entered Korea. And typically he would, because there's typically something called the KETA. The KETA is like the ESTA, ESTA visa. And the ESTA, for those who don't know, it's the American system. You have to register. Obviously, Americans don't have to do it, but if you're a non-American, you have to say when you're coming to the country what you're doing, and you have to disclose a lot of stuff, including whether you have a criminal history. And many countries are implementing ESTA-like systems, which I think can stop nuisance streamers. I think it's a great system and should stop nuisance streamers if they're enforced. I think Europe is doing an ESTA soon. Japan is going to eventually do it. Japan actually has an ESTA. It's like the Visit Japan website, but you can kind of do it in person too. So it's kind of and essentially you can get denied for that. It's an electronic clearance and they won't let you usually on the plane if you haven't done it. Someone says CBP, you're familiar with ESTA. There you go. So you've got to do this ESTA thing, right? And there's some disclosures there. So I'm going to show you the Korean ESTA, the Korean KETA, right? So This is a form you have to fill out, right? And it's going to look very familiar to you guys. This is the official form from the ministry, the Korean ministry. So this is their official form. It's not me, making stuff up. This is the KETA application. You fill out your name, your email, your passport information, why you're entering, the purpose of your enter, which, by the way, if you say tourism and you're working, that's a violation, right? That's a violation. So if you lie about that, that would be a problem, right? Where you're going to stay, your contact number, and then here you go on the next page, right here, enhance, right? Let's do it here. Well, first of all, are you suffering from any disease, cholera, plague? You have to disclose your black plague, guys. You have to disclose your black plague. Yellow fever, SARS, animal influenza, new influenza, Middle Eastern respiratory syndrome, Ebola, tuberculosis, Marburg fever, Lassa fever, Crimean Congo, hemorrhagic fever, smallpox, diphtheria, and new infectious syndrome. So essentially, if you're sick, you got to disclose that. But then here's the question. Have you ever been arrested, charged, or convicted of a criminal offense in your country or abroad? You have to disclose that. So if Somali filled this out, he would have had to check yes. And if he checked, because he's convicted in Japan. And whether you have a conviction in America, in Japan, in Korea, or the Kingdom of Thailand, right? If you have a conviction in any of those countries, right? Regardless of what it's for, even a minor one, you have to disclose it. It does not exempt you from any crime. And if you lie here, you can get in big trouble and you can get blacklisted from the country. And it's in your country or abroad. It's any country. And mind you, this is everybody that's coming to Korea. So in a normal year, all of the nuisance streamers would have to fill this out. And one of the things I've said is almost all of them have a lot of them have criminal charges. Not all of them, but a lot of them have criminal charges. A lot of them have criminal charges. So they would have to disclose that and they would be barred, right? Once again, that's the KETA. However, and here's where I was wrong because I forgot something. For the last 2 years, there has been an exemption on the KETA. So since April of 2023, Korea wanted to promote tourism and they stopped requiring the KETA. I forgot about that. And it's funny because I've covered that on my other channel, but it's just something that slipped my mind. So I was like, oh, that's why he got around it. Now, the interesting thing is that they can still stop you and ask you, have you ever committed a crime? And that's a common question. And especially if they receive information like calls that somebody who's a convicted criminal in another country and they're trying to enter Korea or Japan and many other countries, but in this case, Korea. Let's talk about Korea, right? If you call up and you say, hey, I know somebody who's coming to Korea and they're a convicted criminal, they may ask him some questions. They may pull him into secondary. And the answer is yes. They might just exercise that complete discretion not to let him in. And it just so happens, there's actually a immigration contact number that can be used from abroad, which may or may not also have a link in the description. So you guys can check that out if you know any criminals that might be heading South Korea. So, one big thing, and let me get into this, is, and this is one difference between expats and tourists. This is the big confusion, is expats often have a visa. You have to have a long-term visa to live here, right? Unless you're a citizen or a permanent resident. You have to have a long-term visa. To do that, you have to get a background check. Now, when you get this background check in Korea, it is, I don't want to use the word, it is very particular, okay? They scrutinize the hell out of you. This is funny. I just got a new background check. It's actually, my lawyer just finished it, so I'll go pick it up on Monday from my Korean lawyer. And when you change visa categories, you have to get a new background check. So because they want to make sure that you're still not a criminal, right? So I had to get a background check from the US. Korea has its own files, so you don't need to get it from their own country. It's all electronic. And from the Kingdom of Thailand. So I had to go back, and they both had to be spotless clean, right? And not only that, but anybody who's been here before, if you notice this, there's an apostille you have to get from and anybody who's done this process, you've been an English teacher, you've done whatever, like, you've seen the apostille. Like, it's an annoying thing. It's a Korean thing. It's very annoying. Other places will just take like a regular background check. I'll show you guys a picture of an apostille here real quick. It's just an example. This isn't, mine specifically, but you have to get a stamp here. And it's a stamp that is certifying it to Korea from the federal government. So it's an FBI background check. And it's an apostille. So it's very, very specific. Super specific. So yeah. That's what you have to do as an expat. So that's what people don't understand, expats versus tourists. Tourists don't have to go through that process. Tourists don't know this process. Expats do. And this trial, the Johnny Somali trial, has largely been expats versus tourists and criminals, right? Because a lot of these guys, including Johnny, are convicted criminals. Is what it is. They have convictions. It's real crazy. Ryan says, Johnny getting a doctorate in cabbage farming. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And once again, like I said, I'm just going to be real specific because I said in the beginning, I'll say it again for the record. I'm not going to address anybody, whether it's Johnny or anybody who says crazy shit, defames me. It's usually projection. So I don't acknowledge I don't talk to the retards, right? I mean, I'm also a little stupid, but I'm not that stupid. Let's be clear. Lenmar says, I don't understand why aren't crimes imprinted in an international passport database? So just by scanning the passports show up instantly. Lenmar. How many countries are digital? And also, remember COVID passports? Remember how well that worked? Do you really want all your information in an international database that's controlled by, who's going to control that? Who controls that? What about crimes that aren't crimes in other countries? Right? There's a lot of countries that don't want that, right? And honestly, I don't want that either, just because I don't want a country that is not my country controlling what they put in the database. Imagine if China controls it, right? Or what's another crazy, like Venezuela, right? So Venezuela can tag you because they don't like what you said politically, because you badmouth the CCP or whatever, right? I'm just making a comment here, right? So, and by the way, I wouldn't want Elon to control it either. I don't want anybody to. That's ridiculous. Each country can control its own thing and maintain sovereignty. Yeah. So yeah, that's what we got today. So the other thing is with the only new charge, let me be very clear to kind of come full circle here on the charges. The only new charge with Johnny that we have confirmed in the Eastern District is the deepfake. Any other video that says anything other than the deepfake is fake news right now. The national security stuff he's not been referred to the prosecutor as far as we know. It's not been indicted. So that is preemptive for people talking about that. It could happen. It's possible. But for now, that's fake news. Anybody who says he's charged with national security stuff, that's fake news. That has not happened yet, procedurally. So don't get twisted. Don't get twisted. Yeah. So good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Let's see. Let's see. I wanted to. Oh yeah. I think so. I will. So yeah. If you need that immigration number, that's in the video description. You can check that out. In the description below. Also, I will be posting that transcript of the trial in my local. So go over there, check that out, download that, use that, do whatever you want, have fun, go crazy, enjoy. I will. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. I'm gonna go get some food in me. I'm gonna be taking it easy on this tonight. I'm not gonna be pulling a Johnny. And you guys have a wonderful evening. Take care. Love you. And I will see you later. Because we know that tonight, Johnny and Hank are just going to be.
You are coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're seeing.